All right. Welcome to Fresno City Toastmasters. Looks like we have a small meeting today. No guests, just members. And I'm your president, Farron Jacobson. We always like to start off with our mission statement. So I'll just remind everyone of that. It's in the bottom left-hand corner of your agenda. We'll follow along with that. It says we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. We don't have any new business other than I noticed that April 30th is when dues are due. So I just wanted to give a heads up for that, and I'll say that at the next meeting as well. So we have about a month to get our next set of dues in. I think that's all. I would introduce the Toastmaster of the day, but she's not here. The theme today is Fool Me Once. I have nothing for that. Would anyone like to speak on the theme? As president, I'm supposed to take over as Toastmaster when they don't show up, but I really have nothing. The saying is, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not sure how to apply that to Toastmasters.
Opposite. It's the opposite. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Oh, wait, no. No, you're right. Wait. Is it? What is it?
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Because
you're the opposite.
I always get fall for something twice.
Yeah, I think that's right. You shouldn't fall for something twice. I don't know. I'll just leave it at that because I really don't know how to apply it to Toastmasters right now. As you can see, I'm not very prepared for this meeting. Let's just turn it over to the general evaluator, Chanel.
Okay, I also didn't realize I was the general evaluator. Okay, so Heather, you said you were going to be the timer. Okay, I can be the odd counter also, Farron, in absence of, since there's nobody signed up to do that. Okay, so I will start off with the word of the day. Since this week's, I will be the grammarian, since this week's theme is about being fooled and jokes, and Thursday obviously is April 1st, which is April Fool's Day. The word that I have chosen for today is buffoonery, which we are probably familiar with the word buffoon, which is generally used to describe somebody who is silly or perhaps not very smart. But buffoonery, here's the definition. Buffoonery is defined as behavior that is ridiculous but amusing, such as the film is full of wordplay and buffoonery. So something that it could be silly, it could be funny, it could be just flat out ridiculous, something that doesn't make any sense. All of those uses would apply, so we will try to use that word today as much as possible. I'm guessing we're going to have a lot of table topics time. And then secondly, I will also be the odd counter, so I will be watching out for our uhs, ahs, ohs, which I already caught one on myself. I will write down. And I will record those. So then finally, I'll pass it to Heather, who is our timer for today.
Thank you. So I am the timer for today for Awesome Dawson, and I believe that it is a 5 to 7 minute timer or timed speech. So when you do hit 5 minutes there, I'll just let you know, like, hey, you hit that. Then I'll go 2 minutes and then 1 minute, but then I'll also show you as well, just to kind of, I like to be able to see it. So that is the time for, and I will also be timing the table topics too. So that is my role for today. I'll pass it back to Chanel.
Thank you, Heather. And Farron, are you going to stick on as Zoom master? Okay.
Yeah, I am Zoom Master. Obviously, you guys know my job already. I am just recording the meeting to the cloud. I'll upload it to YouTube later. And it is good to watch your speech after you've given it to see how you look on camera, how your body language is, maybe notice things that the evaluator didn't notice. So I encourage Sarah to go back and watch her speech afterwards when I share the YouTube link.
Okay, and I know that we don't have a Toastmaster. Sarah, did you have some sort of intro for your speech prepared for the Toastmaster?
Oh, yeah.
Hand it over to me.
I just sent it to Farron.
Oh, okay, awesome. Then I will pass it back over to Farron to introduce Sarah.
Thank you, Chanel. Sarah has completed the Competent Communicator Manual and is working on her third speech in the Visionary Communication Pathway. She has always loved being outside and close to nature. It is a place where she can relax and refresh. Please join her as she takes us to a couple of her favorite places. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you, Farron. Think about a place that is your absolute favorite. Where's the place that you go and relax? My favorite place is, well, actually I have two. Yosemite and Hawaii are two of my favorite places. And one of the common, even though they're completely different, is that they have this amazing, beautiful water. And sorry, side note, if I can get to share screen, that'd be great. So when I go up to these two places, it just makes me feel so relaxed and so refreshed and rejuvenated. It's something that when I go up there, it just makes me stop and relax, and all the worries of the world just kind of go away because I get to rejoice in, you know, for me, it draws me so much closer to God because it's like this creation that He made. I'll get into a little bit more in Hawaii, but like one of the things that I do. But Yosemite, I think, is one of the things that I remember from the time I was a child. I've been going there since my parents could carry me on their back up to the top of Vernal Falls. They've told me stories about how that's one of the places that they've gone, and I have just learned to also love it. It's not only the water and the powerful water, but also the tradition that comes along with it. Going with my family at least one time a year, and I have a tradition with my dad, and although he's getting older, so that tradition's changed a little bit, but it used to be that we would go up to the top of Vernal Falls, and then at the top of Vernal Falls, we would have our lunch, we'd come back down, and then we'd go split a banana split. And a lot of these things have had to change because, where did it go? Here we go. Let's see. It's not working. Oh well. Anyway, I was going to show you pretty pictures, but apparently it's not there. So we'll just skip the pretty pictures and I'll just try and describe it. So Vernal Falls, it is a 1.5 mile hike up to the top, all uphill. It is super challenging and absolutely gorgeous all the way along. You have all these green trees and this water that's just flowing over these granite rocks. Just fantastic, fantastic time. Then you get up to like just below, like right when the waterfall is coming over the top of Vernal Falls and it crashes down on the rocks below, you get to walk on a trail. It's called the Mist Trail, and it's right next to the water, and right next to the waterfall. And you go up to the top. It's completely slippery. You get completely soaked. But again, it's just a time where you can just smile and be refreshed and rejuvenated. So that's one of my favorite things. Is going to Yosemite. I think one of my other favorite places is Hawaii. And in Hawaii, the first time I ever got to go was 10 years old. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to Honolulu Bay, but you can go in there and you can see all this life and all of these different things that are just fantastic. I didn't really like it at 10 years old. I did not like being able to, at 10 years old, I didn't like snorkeling because they had those old black tubes where all the water would just crashing on top, and the mask didn't fit me, and so I just ended up choking on all the water. And I'm like, I don't know why people like this, but later on I tried scuba diving, and it is fantastic. The scuba diving, I think, is one of the things that I love the best because it is just so peaceful. You go down and you get to see things that most people never ever get to see. They I don't know. I don't know if you've ever been or not, but there's just like all these little creatures. And I had a picture of one of them, and it's called a blue dragon nudibranch. And it's this little creature about this big. It's about like this, and it's got like all these little things on it, and it's blue and has like little star shapes all over it. And I don't know. It's super tiny and super impressive. But I just get to see all those things. And like when you're scuba diving, you're under there and you're under the water, and like what are the words? So when you're scuba diving, there's like nobody, there's people around, but you're really just like off in your own little world, and you just breathe through this little tube and you get to go exploring and see all these new things. And so those are some of the things that I really, really love. I love being by the water. I love just soaking it in and being relaxed and refreshed. So I don't know where your place is that you like, but that's the place that I like. Thank you.
Sorry, doing multiple jobs at once. Thanks, Sarah. That was an awesome speech. I'm actually going to Hawaii for the first time in January. I booked a cruise, so I'm really
awesome. That'll be fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm excited to hear you talk about it because it gets me more energized and pumped for that.
Go scuba diving, go to Hanama Bay.
Okay, I'll see if we have time. It's a cruise, it's 7 days, and I think we get most of the day on each island, 4 of the islands, so we'll see. But let's introduce Brent to introduce our table topics for the day.
Thank you, Fern. I appreciate it. I have just recently posted in the chat table topic discussions. I've just added one here recently with the lack of participants today, just in case we needed to stretch out some time. My first question, my first topic was, has there been a time in your life when you have learned from your mistakes, and what lessons have you learned? Kind of along the lines of fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. The second one, who's someone or someone that you look up to, and what has that person taught you? And then one that I'm sure all of us can recall is a time when you felt embarrassed or foolish in a public setting. So with that being said, is there anybody that would like to volunteer to take on one of those topics? If not, I'll share one of my lessons. On the first one, if there's been a time in your life when you've learned from your mistakes and what you've learned. I know in high school for basketball, before the season started, we had to lift weights and then run around basically a subdivision behind our high school down by Austin, Texas. And commonly, I always did the route like you were supposed to, but pretty soon I seen all my friends every day after day taking a shortcut through the woods, and it cut off about half a mile from our run. So I thought, well, nobody will ever know, so I'll just do that also. Well, unfortunately, the coaches were watching from a distance with the binoculars and seeing that all the kids were basically getting done really early. So they didn't really have to say anything as far as calling any of us out. They just said, if you did it, step forward and you'll have to face the consequences. So everybody knew who had made that shortcut, and nobody got out of it because everybody did tell the truth because of the peer pressure. So that being said, my lesson that I learned was not to take shortcuts and to do the job proper. So with that being said, does anybody like to take on one of those topics?
I could take one, or Heather. Okay, so it's not exactly a lesson that I learned, but I was looking at the one, oh, what was that? Okay, so sorry about that. It was number 3. Can you recall a time that you felt embarrassed, foolish in a public setting? So also it goes back to school, and you have running, everything else like that. So it's like the same context. So you were running your route, and then I was in PE or something like that. And also there's everybody, all your peers are here, everybody that you know, like, dislike, and everybody's here. So of course we're all running, and then you go through, I mean, it rains every once in a while, then you have the sprinklers and soft spots where it's all muddy. And so I was wearing brightly colored, I was just wearing like a light blue shirt or something like that, and whatever. And I'm running, we're all doing our thing. And then it's sometimes you're very competitive, and you're just get into the moment. It's like, I gotta go be faster than this person that I like, or something like that. And it was just funny. And so what happened was I did a step, and something happened where all of a sudden my feet go this way and my back goes this way, and I fall back. And then there was just this mud. It was just this brown mud. It looks horrible, very, very bad, especially on a lightly colored shirt. And it was a time, I was thinking, oh, this isn't bad. I don't have anything on me. So I just feel the water as I land. I feel the water soaking into my shirt, soaking into my pants. Everything is just soaked. The only thing that isn't wet are my socks. And I was just thinking, oh man, the buffoonery of this, of all the settings of, and now this is the first start. I mean, it's the start of the day. Everybody saw me. I look like a fool. I have this huge mud spot on my back. I can't do anything about it. It's like, can I go home? No, I got to. So I had dried dirt and mud that dried on my back. And it was like throughout the classes, I was just like playing with it. And someone would fall in the chair, and it's like, oh no. And so it was an embarrassing time for me. It's like, I need to make sure that I don't fall in the mud ever again. And it happened only twice that year. But the other time was before school started.
Thanks, Norm. Looking back, I know everybody's had a few embarrassing situations, but luckily you got through that. And I know, Heather, you said that you would like to volunteer.
Yeah, so I've been trying for the life of me to think of some embarrassing stories because I know I have some, but I think I've just like mentally blocked them out. So I would like to answer your second question is, who is or was someone that you look up to, and what has that person taught you? And I truly admire and look up to my uncle, Mike. He is battling COPD, and the last probably 3 to 5 years, I've really gotten so much closer to him. It's unfortunate he doesn't live in California. He lives in Oregon, so it's really hard to see him. But my husband and I, our wedding anniversary is like the day after his birthday, and we get the opportunity to celebrate our anniversary and his birthday together. And we want to do that as often as we can for as many years as we can, because we just don't know how many more he has left. But I definitely admire him because he really put it into perspective for us of, you're never going to be ready, because my husband and I are talking about kids and the whole buffoonery of life and how crazy it could be. You just never know what to expect, but he set us straight, and I really thank him for that, because without that, my husband would probably still be dragging his feet and be like, well, maybe, but now I think we might be ready. So I thank my uncle for that, and I truly admire him and look up to him because he's just a really cool guy.
Thank you, Heather. That was great. Does anybody else like to volunteer? I'm sure that we can each go one or more than once today.
I'll volunteer, Brent. There is some sort of construction that I'm hearing outside, so if you can't hear me, just let me know. But I would like to answer the second question, I believe it is. No, first one. I'm going to answer the first question. A time in your life when you learned from mistakes. I don't have exactly a story to tell, but this is more of a big picture lesson that I have had to learn over my entire life so far. One of the biggest struggles that I have had since I was very young was falling into the temptation of comparing myself to other people. And I believe that I started this at a young age, specifically because of a girl who was my best friend growing up. And she was the classic overachiever type, good at everything, always had to be the best. I kid you not, at one time she was the editor of her school paper, captain of the softball team, and taking like advanced AP math classes all at the same time. So annoying, right? And so I grew up with this mindset of, wow,
Did Chanel shut off for everybody? Or
I
Yes.
didn't mean to laugh, but the way it paused was really funny. I think she'll pop back
I
on.
spend all of my time comparing myself. Am I freezing?
You did just for a little bit. You were talking about your best friend that was captain of the softball team and taking advanced math all at the same time.
Yes. So a lesson that I have had to learn over the years is instead of spending my time comparing myself to other people, to instead put my energy in focusing on the gifts and abilities that I do have and how I can grow and strengthen those. Because any time spent comparing myself is not effective. It doesn't achieve anything. It's not going to get me anywhere. So that's a lesson that I have had to learn over the years and that I think I am still continuing to learn. But it's something that has had a big impact on me changing my mindset. Thank you.
Thank you, Chanel. That's good that you learned that lesson, because we can only be happy in our own skin and do the best we can. That's the main objective. So, Sarah, do you have anything to input on some of these topics?
Sure, I'll do number 3. Can you recall a time that you felt embarrassed, foolish in a public setting? Absolutely yes, probably more than one. But this one, I'll just start with, I'm a huge hugger. I love hugging, especially when I was younger. I would bounce over to people and then just give them a big old bear hug and just give them really, really, really strong hug. That's the backstory to the situation that's going to happen. I was standing there at a retreat where I was at with our church group, and there was this really cute guy that I liked for a really, really long time, and we were having this wonderful conversation. And all of a sudden, one of my friends decides to run up and give me a taste of my own medicine, and bounced up and just hugged and squeezed me really, really tight. And out came the fart right in front of this cute guy. And so I didn't know what to do, but I'm like, anyway, what do? You just laugh about it and say, sorry, excuse me. And then it was over. And I still remember to this day. I don't know if anybody else does, but I do. And so nothing ever happened between us, but he still liked me as a friend. So that's good. So I didn't lose any friends over it. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. That is a little embarrassing, but you got to laugh at it. So, Farron, would you like to take on one of the topics?
yes, I was waiting for the buffoonery outside to calm down, and no, it's still there. They're still barking. Of course. I will take number 2, just because I can't think of any other embarrassing moments or a lesson that I've learned. But there is someone that I look up to, and it's actually my younger sister. We are 8 years apart. Her name's Sierra, and we hung out this weekend. We hadn't had really close sister time in a very long time. So we got to hang out and drive to LA together. So we had tons of time to talk in the car. We spent the whole weekend together, drove back to Fresno, and I look up to her because she stands up for herself very well. And for me, I'm good at standing up for other people. If I see injustice, I am the first one to step in and call people out and get defensive. But when something happens directly to me, I'm very, very passive and just allow it to happen. And I don't know why I'm that way. That's just how it is. But my sister's the complete opposite. And we were actually at a club over the weekend with our cousin. She convinced us to go out. She's a party animal and she's like, come clubbing with us. And we were in this club. Nobody was wearing masks except for me and my sister. It was so uncomfortable, buffoonery going on everywhere, just not a comfortable situation for us. It was not our scene. And I told my cousin, hey, can we go? We're not really enjoying ourselves. And she's like, can you just give me 20 or 30 more minutes? And my sister was like, I don't want to be here. And she stood up and started walking out of the club. And I was like, why can't I do that? I just looked up to her so much in that moment, and we got the heck out of the club and went home. And that is who I look up to, my little sister.
Well, thanks, Vern. I appreciate that insight. And I'll, as far as another topic that I would choose, is I can recall a time that you felt embarrassed or foolish. Looking back at it in a public setting, I still remember in high school, I played guitar a little bit, and some of my friends one friend was in particular a very good guitar player. So we played at the senior post-graduation party. That way everybody got together and basically gambled for prizes. So nobody went out drinking or driving or made foolish mistakes that way. So all the parents got together to have this big party for all the seniors, and we played at it. And I remember they wanted to play Van Halen Black and Blue, and I offered to go ahead and sing, even though I'm not a very good singer. And I still remember, still remember the song, and it was fun. But looking back on it, I can definitely understand why I never got into music nonetheless. So in the class of 300 people and everybody looking at you, it was quite embarrassing, I remember. So with that being said, does anybody else have any other of the topics that they would like to go ahead and comment on?
I remember something really embarrassing. So I swear I'm a really good driver, but my husband says otherwise. And one day I was going to my parents' house and I was stressed out. There's just a lot going on. I was planning an event and I didn't see it. I've lived there for 20 plus years, but I hit my parents' mailbox full on, and that mailbox went everywhere. And my parents were like, well, what's going on? They're like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. And as a way of just to be like, this happened, and a way to kind of tease me about it, instead of fixing it, they took a bright neon orange chair and put their mailbox on top of it for a good month as their replacement. But it was just really embarrassing because I've hit a few things that I probably shouldn't have, but that mailbox is definitely number one, and they still tease me about it to this day.
It's funny, some people have long memories. So, all right. With that being said, if there's no other person that wants to go ahead, wants to contribute to the table topics, it might be a little early, but with the limited group of people that we have today, if it's okay with the president, we'll move on to the next topic.
Thank you, Brent. I'll take back over now as general evaluator, and I'm going to introduce Storm to evaluate Sarah's speech today. Please welcome Storm.
All right, let me get into a grid view. Okay, Sarah, your speech was fantastic. I might have missed one of your speeches. I think I'm not sure if I've heard it before or if this was the third one. I'm not sure. So when Peace Like a River was a speech, I thought you are so engaging during the entire topic. You're all right. So your emotions show, your excitement shows. You're talking about the places. Let me speak too. The places that you find that are so wonderful for you, the places that you find most enjoyable. You talk about Yosemite, and you talk about the vacation places that you like to go to. I would love to go to Hawaii. I would love to go on Farron's going to go on a cruise. I'm jealous just a little bit. Overall, you did a fantastic job. You spoke very clearly. You had great eye contact. Your vocal tonality, you went up and down depending on what you were talking about. Your hand gestures were awesome. Couldn't exactly see all of it because the camera is pointed a little bit high. So I could see your fingertips when you're talking with your hands. I could maybe see your fingertips in part of your presentation, but overall it was fantastic. I don't have much criticism for it whatsoever. I know a lot of us, when we get nervous, we will forget and we'll feel we're pausing or we'll talk really, really fast. I suffer from the same thing. We could, if there was anything that I would say, is make sure that your camera is where your hands are for your hand gestures, and just to take a breath. There's no test. You're not going to fail this. You're doing awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and I enjoyed your speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Storm. Okay, now we are going to call back up our evaluation team to give the results and the evaluation of our fairly short meeting today. So firstly, Heather, could you please give us our timer report?
Of course. So for Sarah's speech, you were just short under 5 minutes at 4:51. For the table topics, Farron, you were at 1:36. Storm, you were at 2:37. Brent, for like your first story, you were at 1:15. Chanel, you're at 2:20. Give or take 10 seconds with kind of that freeze. Sarah, you're at 1:06, and I was at about 1:33. And I couldn't remember if I was supposed to time the evaluation, but Storm, your evaluation was at 1:39. And that was the timers for the day.
Thank you, Heather. And now I will give the all counter report. I believe that we all did pretty good today as far as not saying uhs and ums. So Sarah, in your speech, I did not catch any uhs and ums. However, there were quite a few of justs and just likes in there, which I know is kind of, it's the way that we talk, and I know that I talk that way also. It's slang, conversational type language. So try to work on formalizing a little bit more and cutting some of those out. Brent, I caught one in your table topics, which is really, really good. I think that you're definitely doing a lot better with your uhs and ums since you joined a couple months ago. Storm, in your table topics, I only caught one and then in your evaluation, I caught 2 uhs or ums, which is phenomenal. I want to give you a wave because I don't know if you remember when you first came, but it was like uhs and ums all over, and now you're doing so amazing. So really good job on that. And Heather, you had 1 so you did very well also. Farron, I didn't catch anything from you, and I didn't really pay attention to myself, so you guys can call me out on that if I have anything. So that is the counter report, and then moving on to the grammarian report, I heard Storm, Heather, and Farron use our word buffoonery today all appropriately. Did I miss the other 2 of you? No, okay. So that is the report. Thank you guys for coming today. I know that we're a small group. I'm hoping that next week we'll have more of a full house. I know that I myself have been absent a couple times in the past month, so it seems to be a busy season for people, but I'm hoping we can pull everybody back together and have some fuller meetings. But that being said, good job everyone taking on multiple roles and still being willing to speak up and contribute to the meeting today so that Fresno City Toastmasters can continue on. I think that is all. So Farron, I'll pass it back to you and you can end our meeting for today.
Awesome. Thank you, Chanel. And I kind of like the intimate small meeting a little bit. It's a different thing. And I think we all did a great job of taking over all the roles. Some of us last minute. Chanel, big kudos to you for taking on multiple roles. And great job, Sarah, on your speech. Virtual sticker to you as well. Great evaluation, Storm. I know sometimes you're kind of hesitant to take on these roles, and being an evaluator is a really tough one. It's the one that I like the least. So really proud of you for doing that and stepping up. Virtual sticker to you as well. And I don't have any other business. Are there any other comments, questions, concerns? Awesome. Maybe it's small because it's spring break. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Could be why people are out of town. Next week, it's the Tuesday after spring break and the Easter holiday. So hopefully more people will show up. We will see. But if not, it's cool to have these small meetings too. I think we get a lot more time to talk, each of us, and play with these rules. So good job, everybody. And we will see you. Oh, you know what? Let's fill in next week's agenda. Since there's not a lot of people, you guys can take your pick of what you want and then we'll fill it in through email for everyone else. So I have speakers Brent and Chanel. Are you guys still good to go? Okay. And a Toastmaster. The meeting theme is Easter.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to be here. So if I am able to come, then I'll just fill in somewhere wherever you need if I can come.
Okay. Heather, do you want to just choose a role?
Yeah, can I try? Well, I really like table topics. Can I take
Okay.
that? Okay, cool. Thank you.
And Storm, would you like to choose something?
Grammarian,
Grammarian. All right.
if that works.
Yeah.
I was so proud of myself. I got the word of the day in, and I missed the time for the timer. I was short. It's supposed to be 2 to 3 minutes for the evaluation. I was like, oh, I'm 20 seconds short. Oh no.
Not too bad. Still did a great job. All right, I'll put myself down as an evaluator for a speech, and we will just fill in when there are more people here or via email. All right, and with that, we will dismiss at 12:44, a short meeting. Bye, everybody. See you next week.
Bye, guys. Happy Easter.
Bye, everyone.